Hey, Dr.Asheia Wynn here with Our Markets Live in the Liquid Gold Society. I've gotten a lot of questions of people that are asking, how do I trade the news? Or how do I know what news is coming out so that I can know what currency pairs to avoid? And if I'm looking to trade the news, how do I know what currency pairs are about to be affected and what time? So I wanted to go over that really quickly. It's super easy to find out. There's a couple websites that you'll need to check, and they give you all of the information. So I'm going to tell you what to look for, how to customize it, and then how to understand what it's actually saying. So we're just going to go to a website. The first website is going to be Forex Factory. .com. So we're going to go to forexfactory.com. Now I am actually doing this on my desktop computer, but you can actually access it from your cell phone, any type of smartphone as well, and also tablet. So anything with internet access, you can access this. You just need to go to forexfactory.com. Okay, so there's two main websites where you can get news information. Forexfactory.com is the first one. MyFXBook.com is the second one. So we'll go over this one now, and then I'll show you MyFXBook in just a few minutes, and we'll look at the differences between the two. All right, so we're just going to go to forexfactory.com, and there's a lot of information on here, but what we're really interested in is right here, kind of in the top middle. This is the calendar. Okay, so it's going to give you today's date. Now, cryptocurrency is not accounted for on this. It's only your traditional currency pairs that you find in Forex. So today is actually Saturday, June 16th. The Forex market is closed, and so there's no news or anything that's going to be impacted because the market is closed. All right, so we can just click more here to expand it, and you're actually able to see the news for the entire week. So if you're the type of trader that likes to plan out your entire trading week ahead of time, then on Saturday or maybe on Sunday before the market opens, then you may want to glance at this for the week to determine what times you're going to trade, what currency pairs you're going to stay away from, what currency pairs you're going to look for, in all of that. All right, so there's a lot of information on here. Let me tell you how to understand it. So right here in the first column to the left, you're going to have what date of the week and what calendar date we're looking at for the news. Then it's going to show you what time everything's going to be affected. Now you do want to pay attention the first time you pull this up, right here at what time it is, and make sure that matches the time for your time zone. Okay, so I'm actually in Central Standard Time, and it happens to be my clock says 3:39. Okay, this says 3:36, and so I just updated that, so it says 3:39 now, so it's on the right time zone. Okay, it automatically defaults to Eastern time zone, but I've already customized mine, so that's why it's at 3:39. If you need to change yours to match your time zone, all you need to do is just click on it, and then you find your time zone here where it says time zone, whether you're Pacific Standard Time, Mountain Time, Eastern Time, no matter where you are in the world, there's every time zone that exists on here. All right, so you should be able to find your time zone. So I'm Central Standard Time, so I'm going to leave it on there. And then you have an option for those of you that like military time. It does give you the option to do a 24-hour time, or you can just do AM PM, which is what I prefer. All right, so we got those settings saved. Okay, and we're just going to go back to calendar right here. Okay, so then the next thing you need to look at, we've got the date and we've got the time. The next thing is the currency. It's going to tell you specifically what currency pair is going to be affected. Now, there are some times, like with NFP, which is non-farm payroll. It's a major news that happens the first Friday of every month, and just about every currency pair is affected. The entire market is going to be affected. So you do have big news events like that that's going to affect everything, but for the most part, the individual news events are only going to affect those specific currencies or those specific currency pairs. All right. So if you're one of those people that wants to avoid trading news during a certain time, then all you need to do is look and see what currency pair is going to be affected. And then you can trade everything else aside from that particular currency pair at that time. All right. So then the next thing is impact. All right. So we've got multiple colors here. We've got yellow, red, and orange. Yellow means low impact news. So there is some type of news that's going to be announced or going to be calculated or looked at, but the idea that more than likely the currency pair is not going to be majorly affected by that. Orange means moderately affected, so it may or may not respond positively or negatively based on the news. And then a red folder means high impact news. So it's almost guaranteed that whatever news that is, it is going to affect that currency pair. Okay, so you can filter these to only get those that are going to be significant to impact the market. And all you do is you go up here to the top right hand corner, select filter. And then if you want to, you can take off low impact and moderate impact, which is what I'm going to do. Some people like to leave orange and red checked, but I'm going to uncheck both of those. And then gray, which basically means, well, no, I want to leave gray because gray sometimes means a bank holiday. And so if it's a holiday that's not a national holiday, but maybe the banks are closed over in Europe and they're open in the United States, and I may not realize that it is a bank holiday, then it is helpful to have that, to kind of note that it's a bank holiday and there's probably not going to be a whole lot of movement at all on that currency because the banks are closed. All right, so we'll just go to apply filter. Okay, so now that we've done that, then the basic way to use this is you see what time each currency pair is going to be affected. Now, I do want to say you might want to make note that generally news is going to come out for a currency pair during the session that currency pair is more heavily traded. That deals with what country is using that currency. For example, during the London session, which is overnight here in the United States, then the two main currencies that are going to be affected are going to be Great Britain pound and the euro. Why? Because those are the currencies that they use in that part of the country. So you can see GBP news hits 3:30 a.m., 3:30 a.m. Wednesday, 3:30 a.m. on Thursday. Okay, so if you typically trade a currency pair with Great Britain pound, and maybe you don't only trade it during the London session, maybe you trade it all day long, then you don't really have to worry about that currency pair, Great Britain pound, being affected by news if it's 4 o'clock in the evening and you're in the United States, because it's going to correlate with that session. Okay, as you can see, the US dollar is going to be affected during the New York session, which starts 7 a.m. Central Standard Time. So it has news at 7:30 a.m., 9:30 a.m., 1 p.m., 1:30 p.m. during its session. Japanese yen pairs, Australian dollar, and if the New Zealand dollar was going to be affected, then it's going to be during those sessions, so later in the evenings. Okay, so just wanted to make a note of that. Another cool thing that I wanted to make note of is that some people ask, well, how do I know how the news is going to affect the currency pairs? Now, these are for the people that want to trade the news. There's several different news trading strategies. And so the purpose of this video is not really to go over the strategies on how to trade the news. It's just simply to bring to your awareness the websites that you can go to find out what news is coming out and what pairs are going to be affected. But I did want to just kind of go over the small detail for you. For example, let's take crude oil inventories, okay? Oil is my absolute favorite pair in the world. It's what I love to trade. Okay, so if I wanted to know how are the inventories going to affect oil pricing, then this is really cool. If you see this envelope right here and you click on that, it gives you the information, okay? And it tells you this is measuring the change in the number of barrels of crude oil held in inventory by commercial firms during the week, okay? So this is an oil inventory. They're counting all the barrels of crude oil, looking at the difference in the barrels of crude oil, okay? And so, oh, this actually doesn't explain it very well, but it's a supply and demand thing. So if you've got an increase in the number of barrels, then the price is going to go down. But if there's a decrease in the number of barrels, then obviously you have less barrels than are needed. So the price is going to go up. But it'll tell you how often that news is going to come out, and then it'll tell you what the next release date is. But let me actually click on another one here so that you can see. Okay, FOMC statement. Okay, let's see, federal funds rate. Okay, this is good. Okay, federal funds rate. Okay, so this basically tells you what it measures. Then it says if the actual rate is greater than the forecast, that's good for the currency. So if the actual rate of it is greater than what's forecasted, then whatever currency pair that's affected, which is the US dollar, is going to shoot up. Okay, so I know some people that'll come to this and they will just kind of click, 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 click. There's a little arrow. The market's closed, so it's not showing, but there's like a little and this has already happened. But if it hasn't happened yet, there's like a little refresh arrow, refresh, 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 so that you can refresh to know if this is going to go up or down based on if the actual number was greater than the forecast. Okay, so as you can see, for the past since November the 2017, it's been less than, oh, this is saying less than 175. It was forecasted as less than 175. So that probably didn't change at all. All of these have pretty much been what was forecasted. Okay, so it doesn't really affect it as much. If the actual was greater than what was forecasted, then it would cause the US dollar to shoot up. If it was less than, then the US dollar would shoot down. So hopefully that kind of makes sense there. Okay, now let's go to another website that's really good for news. Now the primary website that I use to see what's going on with the news is Forex Factory, but there are some news events that Forex Factory does not pick up, and so some people like to also go to MyFXBook.com. So we'll go to MyFXBook.com. You can see it there. Okay. To get news as well, we're going to go to Home and then Economic Calendar, because that's what we're looking for. And I forgot that I already filtered this, so let me just change that back. All right. Okay, so very similar. You see the date and time. Now this is on military time. This is 24-hour time, and I don't see where you can change that. Let me see. When I go to custom, it doesn't really give me the option to change that. So yeah, so military time it is. And then instead of showing you the currencies, they're going to show you the flags from those countries. But if you hover over it, the actual country will pop up if you're not familiar enough with that country. Excuse me. Okay, then similar to Forex Factory, you're going to see what the news is, and then here you're going to see whether it's actually low, medium, or high impact news. Instead of just the colored folders, it actually says it. But you can go here to filter. Just click on more right here at the top, and then you can filter low impact or medium impact so that you only get the high impact news, and then I'm going to leave the no impact for the bank holidays open. Another cool thing for those of you that are wanting to trade the news is you can actually get a notification with this one. So you can have it notify you by email 30 minutes before or whatever. Now you do have to be signed in order to use this particular notification feature. If you're not interested in signing in or logging in and obtaining a free account with MyFXBook, then you won't be able to have access to this, but you can still use the calendar just by coming to the website and clicking economic calendar. All right, so then we're going to save that. Now for both of these, if you have an iPhone, not exactly sure about an Android because I have an iPhone, I have all Apple products. So if you have an iPhone, for both MyFXBook and also for Forex Factory, at the very bottom, if you choose, and you can kind of see it up here because I'm using a Mac desktop, so you can kind of see it here. Go to your sheet of paper with the arrow through it, and then you can actually select add to home screen. If you're doing this on your phone, then an option will be add to home screen, and then you can have this put on your home screen. Even though it's not available as an app, it'll be a button that'll appear on your home screen as though it is an app. And so instead of having to manually type in the website every single time, right before you get ready to start trading, you can just select the icon that's representative of this website. Just select that just like you would a normal app, and it'll bring you right to this page and right to your calendar. So that makes it really, really easy to use. Now for MyFXBook, I don't keep that one on my phone because they send a lot of notifications. I mean, the notifications are just continuous. And so I had to take that off my phone because it just got to be annoying, the continual notifications that I received. Okay. All right. I hope that this is helpful to you. If you have any questions on how to use forexfactory.com or MyFXBook in order to trade the news or to avoid the news in your trading, then definitely put a comment below and I'll be glad to help answer your questions.